All set, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, James. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Reynolds School Project Building Committee meeting. It is our regular meeting, first of the month, December 1st, 2022. It's 5:15. Jeff, could you do our roll call, please?
Yes, members are asked to signify their presence when their name is called. Councilor Camillo. Councilor Rada.
Here.
Ms. Drazad. Ms. Parati.
Here.
Ms. Dugan.
Here.
Mr. Wetzel.
Here.
Mr. Woods.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Jeff. Next is public participation, but we do not have anybody.
No one with us.
Okay. Move on, take action on prior meeting minutes. We have one, I believe.
Yes,
November
that's the
3rd.
meeting of November 3rd.
So I would entertain a motion that we accept the minutes as written by somebody. And
Make a
Second.
motion, we accept the minutes.
thank
as-
you, Carol. And a
Second.
Second by Kim. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item is take action on invoices. Jeff, I think we have several.
Yes, there were 8 invoices that were distributed for the committee's consideration. There are 4 from Tri-State, which totaled $3,064. There was also a moving invoice from Meyer for $255.68. There was an invoice from the project architect for $6,819.25. There was an invoice from Freeman Companies for stormwater monitoring for $1,350. And there was an invoice from your commissioning agent, IES, for $1,268. The total of the 8 invoices is $13,626.93.
Thank you, Jeff. So I'd entertain a motion to approve these
So
Move to
moved.
approve the invoices.
by Amy, thank you, and seconded by Kim, I believe, right?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Any questions? You've had obviously time to look at them, but I know we throw a lot at you. And we're only at 15% of the project as far as payment goes, so there's gonna be a lot more coming our way. But hearing and seeing no hands up, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. The Financial update, Jim, you're gonna take care of that for us?
Sure.
Printed it.
So the overall project budget has been updated to account for many of the invoices that we've recently approved. One thing I do want to point out that when I sent the budget out earlier today, Jennifer from KBA did notify me, alert me to a discrepancy in the technology equipment budget that I have to make an adjustment to. I was unaware. Eileen was aware. Unfortunately, she didn't make that adjustment before she had to take care of a family issue. So I will make that adjustment and then resend out an updated budget. And as Steve had mentioned, we're at about 14% total project expenditure at this point.
Any questions for Jim? No? Okay, Jim, thank you.
Kim has her hand up.
Oh, she does? Yeah. Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, just a question on the contingency. I know that I see that it's gone down a bit, and can you just explain that a little more? And are we going to see some fluctuation over time? I know, it's built in, but
It's
You
actually
will.
a little misleading. But go ahead, Jim.
Oh, yeah. So the contingency will fluctuate as we progress with the project. The contingency does take care of some field condition change orders, unforeseen items. So you'll see, like I said, you'll see that contingency fluctuate. As some owner costs may not be incurred, we will then move those costs that we know are not going to be spent into the owner's contingency to increase it. And again, it will be decreased as change orders are approved and move forward. So there will be continual fluctuation throughout the entire project of the owner's contingency.
And
Thank
Kim,
you.
just so you know too, that's the original owner's contingency. So when we started to move into actual construction, we're not allowed by the state to have over 5% anyways. So it would have been adjusted down to that.
Okay.
It would have had to be put back into different areas. Okay. Any other questions for Jim? Okay, we'll move on. Jennifer, architects update.
Sure.
I know you've been very busy. I got to
Yeah,
walk
we're
around with
very
you
busy.
for 2 hours 2 days ago.
Yep, there's a lot to look at on the site. They're making some good headway, but I will let Rich report on that. But we do review and walk the site to see that they're still constructing in accordance with the plans and specifications. There are on occasion some surprises, especially dealing with an existing building. So some of the PCOs that were on the list that are going to be reviewed with you, some of those are due to some existing field conditions. Sometimes things like hazardous materials abatement makes a little bit more of a mess than we would like to see, and we're trying to come up with some solutions and present them to you in the future. But there's a lot going on the site. So we continue to visit the site for certain meetings. We have virtual meetings and some in-person meetings that we attend to do coordination with contractors and to keep in close contact with the construction manager as things keep progressing. We review, and I wanted to report on the application for payment, which isn't due yet, but that's one of the recent things that we've been working with Newfield and Eileen on is reviewing what we call the pencil recs, the application for payment for November. And we go back and forth with Newfield. We make comments and we've asked for some adjustments here and there to some contractor requisitions. So that'll be coming your way next time around, I believe. But that's part of what we're doing, and reviewing potential change orders. A number of them had already been sent out to you. We're reviewing maybe 13 tonight, I think. And that process too, to review these proposed change orders, we discussed those with your owner's project manager, Eileen, and Newfield, to make sure that we think that hours, materials, that all that is appropriate, and at times suggest that changes are made to your benefit. So there's, I think, 13 that we recently reviewed and recommend for approval. I think Rich will go over that list in more detail. Other recent activity has been, we did complete the technology and FF&E packages that we wanted to take to the state for their review so that you could get reimbursement for furniture and some equipment related. It's mainly furniture and the technology. What we call those two packages, the FF&E, the furniture part of it, that is phase 2 of 3 as far as the state is concerned. They've already reviewed phase 1 of 3, which was your construction, which is going on now. They had reviewed those drawings and specifications in detail before. So now we want them to do a review of phase 2 of 3 for furniture and phase 3 of 3 for technology items. And I do want to share with you a presentation quickly that we gave to the Board of Ed on November 16th, I believe it was. Now I gotta
was.
figure out how to share again. Oh, there we are. All right. Okay, can you see, oops, can you see my, oops, I didn't press share yet. Okay. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, Jennifer.
Okay, good. So phase 2 of 3, to start there, let's see if I can move this away. We have come up with a, using the budget line items that you had for technology and furniture in the past. It was on the financial report that Jim gave. We looked at the budget available. We had, as I mentioned previously, we had many meetings with the administration, the users, to come up with a plan for furniture. You know, whether it would all be new, whether we would reuse any existing, because we know that that we do need to be concerned about money and finances. So there is some reuse of some existing furniture, but this package that we prepared that totals, as far as products go, product and installation, it's over $490,000 of the product and installation. That includes things such as chairs, desks, there's area rugs, because this is an elementary school. That's a common thing that we find, because the kids are, you know, having some floor time, or, you know, getting into a group on the floor. There's some storage items such as files, shelving, like, you know, file storage, shelving, miscellaneous tables, and a few other miscellaneous items. There is some contingency that we put on top of the 490. This pricing is based on state contract pricing. We were looking for items that we could procure from a state contract. That saves you going through a bidding process. The state contracts have already been vetted by the state. There are some discounts there. So this is based on state contract pricing, except for a few items. There are 2 items in the library. They're the same item. I'll show you. Whoops, I think they might be in here. There are these little, like, reading nook type things that would go between some of the shelving units in the library. We are planning for all new library shelving, but these couple units are custom units that aren't available on state contract. But because of the bidding threshold for the state being 10,000, and I believe Newington's even being more than that, we are under the $10,000 threshold, so we should be able to go direct and purchase those. Nothing has been purchased yet. Really, there's this huge list of items that we are planning for, and as the stages of the project move along, and as the committee feels comfortable with the money, purchase orders can be made so that you can procure certain furniture. But you know, you don't have to be committed for the 490, but the 490 of product is what we wanted to bring to the state for their review. Other things on that list, as I mentioned, these are just some examples of things that are in that package. Library shelving, new cafeteria tables. There's a variety of tables throughout the classrooms, depending on what the room is. Different shapes and sizes. A few different seating selections and, you know, seating options for students in some cases. Student chairs. There's also some guest chairs. There's the area rug, teacher desks, teacher chairs as well. File cabinets, shelving. That's the kind of thing that's in the furniture package. Besides the contingency we put in there, we also put in for some escalation. Sometimes those products do go up, and even on a state contract, there are sometimes a fluctuation as everything is increasing, unfortunately. We wanted to put a little bit in there just in case. If this isn't used, if you decide to purchase whatever furniture in the different stages and we don't need to touch that, that would be great. Go back to you. And again, you don't even need to spend the $490 if you, for whatever reason, decide that you don't want to purchase all this furniture. Let's see. We had submitted plans. We prepared plans to make sure furniture would fit. We needed to show that to the state for their review. For instance, this is just an example, but there's a lot of rooms. We tag every piece of furniture, what it is, and there's a lot of documentation that goes along with that, pictures that go along with that, the cost estimate for each of these pieces. And we also look at accessibility by individuals with disabilities. The state requires and looks for the fact that we do have space for individuals that may need it, or that there's special chairs or desk heights, knee clearances, all of that. They look for that too, and we show them that in the documentation. So all these things are tagged. Here's a kindergarten room. It's a busy plan, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but we just try to make sure furniture will fit. Much of this is movable, except for tall shelving, which we do want anchored to the walls so that it doesn't fall over, which is a safety thing. But for the most part, these items are movable and can be arranged, in a number of positions. The teacher desk is the one thing that you often want near your technology and power locations. So that had been previously coordinated, and we planned for where teachers would most likely have their desk. So in addition to the plans, a detailed estimate. Like I said, there's a whole, see if I can bring this up. There's a whole report. This is 116 pages, but shows some of the color choices. This is just a picture of a generic chair, but there's some color choices that were worked out also with administration and certain staff members to review the whole color scheme for finishes and furniture, listing of where these chairs and how many of them there are, all of that, that gets submitted to the state. As far as technology goes, there's not much on the technology package, not too many items. The budget summary for that, we were working with $178,000 for that budget. And the one thing I want to say is the financial statement that Jim sent out earlier and brought up on the screen. There was a number for FF&E and a number for technology. And now I can't remember what they totaled, but the total of both of those items were keeping the same. What we did find is that we're shifting some money from the technology line into the furniture line, because we realized through talking with the district what their technology needs are. They did not need as much of a budget for the technology that was necessary. So we didn't need all of that, but we wanted to be able to get some more new furniture, such as the media center, new cafeteria tables, and mostly new furniture throughout the building. There are a few cases where we're keeping some existing tables, which are relatively new, in good condition, meet the accessibility standards. So there's a few cases of that, but most of it is new. So we have the $178,000 planned for technology. We're not expecting too much of an increase in escalation there. That's state contracts. Most of this is state contract stuff as well. Not all of it, but there's flat panel displays, such as these two top items, which will go into the educational spaces and a few meeting rooms. the conference room in the main office, for instance. Some of these are interactive in the classrooms. They are 75-inch interactive panels. So what, in some schools in the past, there may have been projectors and other means to communicate at the front of the classroom. Now, a lot of districts are going toward interactive flat panel screens. So these are in the classrooms, and then some smaller non-interactive boards are in some other places throughout the school. Those are to be purchased from a state contract. We already have a quote for all of those. And then down here, the only other technology item that we were looking at that was necessary was a classroom audio amplification system. So that's a system where there's an in-ceiling speaker that is going to be installed by the current construction trade contractor, but we're buying it through another means. So there's this in-ceiling speaker. The teacher would wear a microphone. And what this does is it helps all students. If you're not at the front of the classroom and you might be in the back, all students can hear the teacher more clearly. And, therefore, hopefully, perform better, be better engaged and all of that. Because we know that, it's sometimes easier to hear when you're in the front. And it also has some ability to connect with students that have certain special needs equipment for hearing and things. So that system is part of this package as well, that classroom audio amplification. And that's worth about $50,000. The flat panels are $126,000. This classroom audio amplification system has been tested by the district, and they are looking, instead of state contract, it's not available on the state contract that we can find. They are looking to request a sole source item from the state to try to get reimbursement, but go with a specific system that they've tested, they've started training, and they like it. So that's been vetted by district as well. Anyway, those are the two packages that we wanted the state to approve. Steve, I don't know if you need any approval from the building committee formally.
Jeff, do we need to approve it?
No, I wouldn't think so.
I don't either. So
Okay, good.
that combined figure, Jennifer, is about $712,000 is what it was
Yes.
originally.
That's what it was. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Couldn't remember. And I didn't do quick math when I'm on the spot.
Any questions for Jennifer? Don't see any hands up. Okay, we're going to move on. The next is owner's project managers update, which I'm going to skip because Eileen isn't here. And I don't want to put Jim on the spot. Eileen's on the job every day. And unfortunately, Eileen could not be with us tonight. She had a family emergency that she had to attend. So we'll get an update at the second meeting in December. Construction managers update. Rich.
Yeah, first one I wanted to start with is our invoice for October 2020, our application. I don't think we went over that before, but
You want to end with that, Rich, not start with it.
well, I already started.
I'm teasing, Rich.
I already started, so we're gonna go with it. I have it here. I can display it if Jeff, you don't have it, or if you want to.
You have the ability to share? Rich? You should be able to, yep.
Yes. Should be able to see that. It's current payment is $697,219.65 for month of October. For it's for all the Newfield and all of our subcontractors work.
Again, this is what Jennifer meets with Rich on a regular basis or on a monthly basis to go through and approve this. And it's if you're not familiar with it, what they do is by usually the 22nd of the month, and it depends on each different firm, but there's a pencil rec that goes in, then the architects, the construction manager, as well as the owner review them, approve them, adjust them, deny it, and then what's called the permanent rec, which is what we have right now, what's approved. So everybody has signed off on this. We don't see it until it's ironed out and in compliance with the contract. Okay. We don't need a motion to approve this, Jeff, do we? This is,
No, you do not.
yeah.
Oh,
I think so.
okay.
Well, you will eventually, but not at this time. I don't think this is something that's come before the committee, and it hasn't been reviewed by Eileen, so.
Oh, it was reviewed by Eileen.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, again, I haven't received her approval, and so therefore it is not before the committee for this evening. Only the 8 invoices that were distributed on Monday are before the committee this evening.
Just so you're aware, Jeff, she did initial off on the requisition.
Well, that may be, but I don't have her formal approval, so.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's move on.
All right. Sorry, going. Should be able to see the screen. Here's the vestibule entering in from the west side of the building into C wing. You can see we're starting to frame out here. We have blocking in place for the interior curtain wall for the vestibule. So we're framing everything out in these hallways that we can. There are some areas that you'll have the painted brick or painted block rather still exposed, but we do also have several areas where we've added furred out walls and framing. So those are getting installed now. The plumbing piping is being insulated, and you can see our valve tags and our labeling on the plumbing piping above. So this will all end up obviously above the ceiling, out of place, but it is, you know, being neatly insulated and installed up above the ceilings. Here you can see one of the classrooms in C wing. We've started this past week, or about a week and a half into this activity now, of drywall and taping. So taping activities are occurring. We're getting ready to begin some ceiling work in the next couple of weeks, as well as some painting, getting the painter in so that he can get a coat of paint on the walls before the ceiling goes in. Makes a little easier for him if he doesn't have to cut into the ceiling. So we're going to be pushing to start those finishes in the next few weeks. You can see here is a different stage. This is over in the admin area, so still stage 1, different stage of framing and drywalling. So the drywall is going up here in the admin space, and the you can see they're still in process on doing that one right now. And this is one of the units that we've been waiting for. This is one of the classroom air handlers. So this, due to some of the space restrictions on the ceilings here, we have individual classroom air handler units in several of these rooms. There's 2 of them in this first phase in C wing, so one of them is here. This will tie into that ductwork that's above. That unit gets pushed back about 4 or 5 feet from where it sits right now into that corner, and it'll be framed up into basically a small mechanical closet, and that will provide the air handling capabilities for each of these classrooms. So we've gotten some of these longer lead items in. These were ordered back over the summer. I believe they were a 22-week lead to get these, so it's important that these have now shown up. That allows us to get the rest of our framing completed and work our way towards the finishes on this. Overall, there's, you know, from the last update that we had, it's just we've been largely finishing out a lot of the above ceiling work, which we've shown photos of before. These have been inspected by the town building inspector, and the fire marshal has been on site as well. witnessed some pressure tests on the sprinkler system. And we've, just been keeping this building as tight as we can, keeping all the weather out, letting our finished trades or our tapers work to get towards the finished trades coming in this phase. We are still working long lead times on wrapping up some details on these exterior walls for the panels, where our glass and glazing contractor has received the aluminum to make the window frames, and the glass should be in the next week or so for that. As a large portion of the glass should be in within the next week or so for the exterior frames here as well. So we do continue doing that, and we continue coordinating with the subs, all the different trades here, trying to get all of the exterior details worked out, making sure we don't run into any issues in the future. And one of the things we're working through right now is this the precast detailing. Some of the precast is there's some design and detailing times we've been dealing with, as well as some existing conditions that we've discovered throughout the phases of construction. So those items are continuing to be addressed by ourselves, KBA, and CSG as we meet often multiple times a week to go over any open issues we have to keep the job running. Part of that, we do have our change order proposals here that one of the things that we do meet on. So these PCOs have all been reviewed through Jennifer and Eileen and Jim and myself for trade contractors work. So we do have some in here that are no cost changes to the overall project budget. Some of them are simply no cost changes. Others are value management items and the CM contingency draw, which is what PCO 31 is. The other remaining PCOs listed on here are all owner changes, either due through existing conditions or some design changes as well to accommodate the new construction activities. Does anyone have any specific questions they'd like to review with any of these PCOs?
Any questions for Rich?
Yeah, did we get the, I don't know, maybe I missed an email. I only had 4 of the.
I did send the rest were 16, 17, 19, and 24 were intended for the third week of the month last month that ended up getting canceled. The additional ones, 28 through 43 here, were sent this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
And they were not sent by the town. They were not distributed by the town. They were distributed by Newfield Construction.
Okay. I see them now. They're in a PDF altogether. Just can I ask another question?
Yes.
The that painting option 2, number 28, is that for like the hallway? In the...
PR number 2 was some painting revisions. So we did have a specified paint product, which was a Scuff-X paint. It's more of a higher end paint that, with discussions with the owner, was decided to use that same product that was previously specified in additional areas on the job as well. So it basically improved the capabilities of the paints that are going to be used in most of the spaces throughout the building. If there's any further details on that you'd like to go into, Jennifer, I can defer that to you or to Liz.
It's really just, yeah, Jennifer, excuse me, Amy, it's really just an increase in materials, cost of materials. We've upgraded the paint. The paint was a pretty inferior paint, let's say, or bottom of the line paint. And we decided to bring it up to more middle or higher end of the road, just so the district doesn't need to repaint this 2 or 3 years. after we finish.
Okay, makes
It's
sense.
really just the cost of materials.
And that's for the whole project or just the first phase?
It's the whole project,
Okay,
as I understand it.
Yes, that's
It's like
correct.
450 gallons of paint is what that represents, the increase.
okay.
I'll give a brief description on each of these. The deleted plumbing fixtures was based off of coordination with the school district for getting rid of fixtures that had sensors and turning back to a manually operated valve on the such as the faucets for the kindergarten areas to kind of teach the life skills for the younger kids in those areas. Temp power fees for the elevator were required due to some changes in materials over there. We needed to temporarily provide power so that the elevator could be installed. The paint we just discussed. RFI number 19 for the flowable filler on the kitchen electrical conduits. We had several penetrations, about, I believe it was 23 or so penetrations in a fairly small area. So the structural engineer reviewed that, and the resolution to that was to add flowable fill, which is essentially a lightweight concrete that'll flow and fill voids very easily around the electrical conduits to provide additional support against the foundation wall. PCO 31, we had to run some electrical conduit to feed an electrical room across the courtyard. So that money there is being provided out of the CM contingency. The infill in the kitchen window is required to provide additional space for the new 480 volt electrical service. There was not enough wall space in the area initially to put the disconnects and the meter and the required cabinets. So we had to put some masonry blocking into the existing window. And part of this $1,117 value here is credit for the new window glass and framing that would have gone in its place. So there's an add for the masonry, but a credit available for the glass and glazing. PCO 33, the brick pier supports there's a concrete portion. There's a brick column essentially at the end of some existing walls that needs to be added, and we needed to extend the foundations to go underneath those new bricks. It's approximately 1 foot by 1'4" in several locations and a few different wings of the building. So those are added architecturally for the exterior walls, which, because they're changing with the precast and the window details, these columns are required to provide the sort of the start and stop points at each of these walls. So there's some added concrete required there. There's a tree that was not scheduled to be removed that's leaning over a neighbor's property that is being shown in PCO 36 here. It is a cost to have that tree removed and majority of that stump ground down. It's right next to a fence, so it'll be ground as close as it can be to that fence.
Actually, Rich,
Yeah.
Just check that one, because what we're gonna do there, the tree's coming down, but then we're not gonna grind the stump, just flush cut it.
Okay.
As low to the ground as you can, okay?
Yeah. Okay. PCO number 39 is for an ASI for during demolition and the installation of a new steel beam. We discovered that some of the roof deck joists were skewed at an angle and did not have much bearing on the ends of them. So we brought that to the attention of the structural engineer, and he's provided a detail for us to reattach those joists to make sure there's no rollover forces in that joist trying to make it turn, and it's going to bear the weight of the roof above safely and securely. PCO 40 was for a temporary asphalt sidewalk that was installed near the north lot after the first phase of site work was done this past summer. That work was done to relocate a sidewalk, so it was not going into the new drive lane of the north lot, and it goes back towards the south lot and provides a crossing lane for students that could be walking into the school grounds from Fen Road area by the baseball field. And PCO number 43 includes the cost for RFI 40 for existing frames, door frames that were, there's 3 locations, there's 3 existing door frames that are going to be reused, and the preps in the door frames would not have accommodated the hardware that was specified. So our contractor proposed a different set of hardware, and this is the value for the labor to install that alternate set of hardware, which requires drilling and tapping the existing frame in place. So if there's anyone's looking for any further detail on any of those PCOs, I can go into that as well.
Is that it, Rich?
For the PCOs, if there's no other questions, I can go forward to our schedule.
Yeah, before we finish that, Jeff, can we conditionally approve their payment app as a committee tonight? Because it's gone through all of what it needs to for us to approve it. And then once you get what you need from Eileen on your end, so we don't hold, because I believe this is October's payment rec. I'd like not to hold it up another 2 weeks if we can. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. So then I'll do it when we get to any other business. We'll go back to do that. Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
Rich.
Yeah, as long as it's clear as to what we're approving, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So similar to what we've shown before, and what I had mentioned earlier was this precast wall panel that we're dealing with, some existing conditions and some other issues we've come across in the field and through this procurement process with some delegated design work, as well as some detailing work done by the precast manufacturer. We're expecting some releases very shortly for precast material to get into production, and then it is going to take several weeks for that to be produced and arrive on site. So right now we're expecting sometime around early January for a delivery of the precast panel. So we've had to adjust our schedule for stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 being the AC wing, which we're in now. Stage 2 being the B wing. You can see the turnover dates we have right now. We're showing a projected date of February 24th for the first stage and July 20th for the second. And part of what's going into this and how we've worked this schedule is that the stage 1 finishing later will allow us to have for stage 2 to start later, but we'll keep stage 3, which is scheduled to start in the beginning of summer of this coming year, 2023. We'll keep the stage 3 start date the same. So we'll be having finished trades finish in the B wing, while the demo trades start their abatement work in the other portion of the building, and as well as some other rough carpentry and those type of items begin over in the lobby in the 3A stage work, which is over the summer. So we intend to, by the end of stage 3, the plan right now would be everything is back on track, because the details that we're running into with this precast should be all worked out very shortly, now that we believe we have all of the unknowns that were, well, previous unknowns in the drawings and details and the existing conditions in the building worked out. We've done some test sections on the B wing of the building, and as well as the EF wing. We've dug against the foundations and checked into the existing walls to make sure we have our details accurate for these precast panels. So that should speed up their procurement substantially for the next future phases. But right now, that is what is driving stage 1, as well as we are just waiting on the rooftop units for the air handlers for stage 1, where we have a current ship date from the manufacturer of today. We're still waiting on confirmation that that has shipped. And once we do have that confirmation, line number 6 here I would expect to fall off as well as being one of our dependent activities. So I know the last time we presented this, there was a half dozen or so dependent activities here, and we are dwindling down that list and working diligently to make sure these details all work out. So whenever all the material does arrive on site, everything should be able to just be installed. And we will have our finished trades finishing inside the building as close as they can to that exterior wall to meet these new turnover dates for February 24th. And the B-wing stages shouldn't have the same issues of material procurement that we saw in the stage 1. So those durations will largely stay the same. It's just the start and end dates are both shifting. This is, like I said, many of the items we had before have since fallen off the list that we needed to work on. But this is something that we had developed this past week, and we've brought it up in our owner, architect, and contractor meeting this week, and we are this is actively being presented to the principal, Jason Smith, for his review, because this does affect some of his turnovers. And previously it's been discussed with him that the stage 2 turnover, while it would be ideal to have the turnover prior to the end of school, it was not a deal breaker for him per se for to have that date slip. What is important is that we maintain these summer phase work where the abatement activities happen. And with this schedule they're proposing right now, we are still anticipating that stage 3 abatement work to occur over the summer without any impact from these first 2 stages. If there's any questions, I can field them now.
Any questions? Well, obviously there's some not so great news in there, but in the end, it's not horrible because the completion date of the project doesn't get pushed out. These panels have been a nightmare. The precast concrete panels from day one, they've had a really difficult time. I believe as what you've heard so far, they're very, very close to nailing it down. So once one arrives, then it's pretty simple. It shouldn't affect us on the rest of the on the project. We should be good moving forward. Good news, and he didn't touch on it, but we're ahead of schedule with the elevator. So it will not interfere. We will have a working elevator. So when we need it to get the kids from one level to the other, it'll be there. They've I've sped up the replacement of the roof. Another great news for anybody that uses Reynolds School on a regular basis. Knows that there's some leakage problems there occasionally. It's mixed. It's a mixed message. Not unheard of on a project this size. They're managing it. They're working through it very diligently, I believe, and doing the best they can. Excuse me, I'm fighting this allergy thing. Any questions for Rich? I don't see anybody's hand, but I don't see everybody. Okay, Rich, you have anything else? Or you done?
No, that's it.
Okay. So, Rich, can you put up your payment app?
Give me 1 second. I'll pull that up.
Our next item is any other business pertinent to the committee. And because we did miss a meeting, I would like to get this payment app approved. I just want to make sure I have the number right.
It
Payment
is,
app 5. Is that what it was?
yes, application number 5.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion that we approve payment application 5 to Newfield Construction in the amount of $697,219.65. If somebody could move that for me.
So moved.
Thank you, Amy, and seconded by Jeremy. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And motion passes unanimous. And Jeff, this again, a contingent upon you getting what you need to make sure you can approve it on your end, which I think
Jeff,
you
Jeff,
will
may I
have.
ask what it is you need? I might be able to might be able to expedite that. I see Eileen's initials on the document there. Is there anything else from her that you get?
Well, usually I get some sort of formal approval with her stamp on it.
Well, she doesn't, she initials the payment request, which is.
Well, that
her
may
initials are
be,
on-
but again, I normally get the, something with her formal stamp on it saying that it's been approved.
All right, let me see what I can.
Yeah, if you could do that, Jim, I'd appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay,
So, and when I have that, then I can approve it. I'll get it in for the next week, the next week's batch.
All
okay.
right, is it maybe as simple as getting an email from us saying that we've reviewed it, we've initialed it, and we're in agreement with it?
Yeah, I would think that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Jeff? Do you have anything for us?
Well, we've still got the 8 invoices that were sent out before, the 13,626.93. Did you take action on those? Yes, you
did.
did. So
We did, yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
That's all I've got. Your next 2 meetings are going to be December 15th and January 5th, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I saw the 15th. Public participation? I don't think we have anybody. We don't. Comments by members? Anybody?
Can I just one quick thing?
You sure can,
Just-
Amy.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you to Jennifer for coming to the Board of Ed meeting. Doing that presentation was very helpful. Great job. And just seeing the schedule, obviously disappointing that things are behind, but understandable. And just want to thank everybody who had a part in making it all work. I think it's a great plan to do finish up phase 3 and do the summer phase simultaneously. And as long as that doesn't cause any issues with abatement work in the building and then other people still being in the building doing other things. I think that's a great idea because keeping everything on target, especially finishing up, double time when the kids are not in school is a great way to get back on track. So thank you to everyone who is working through that little hiccup. So
Okay, thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Amy. Kim?
Yeah, just a quick question. I know that there was a presentation, I can't remember how many months ago, to the council, and I'm wondering if there's anything planned or if you have a date or propose in the near future so that besides what I can bring, which would be very brief, the council could get an update as well.
Yeah, how about if we plan on doing it, say maybe your second meeting in January? I'll check with the town manager and make sure that's okay. And we can give you an update.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Anyone else? Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, James.
Good night.